Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to walk you through the oil change process on a DuroMax generator. I will be using the XP13000EH model as an example, but the steps are very similar across most of their generators. Along the way, I'll also share a few simple maintenance tips that will help keep your generator running smoothly and lasting longer. Let's get started. When it comes to keeping this generator in good shape, there are a few things you'll want to stay on top of, and the most important one is changing the oil. The first one is right after the break-in period. That means when you first get the generator, after you've added oil for the very first time, DuroMax recommends running it for about 8 hours at around a 50% load. Once that's done, you go ahead and do your first oil change. Then, after that, the next oil change comes at 50 hours or about 3 months of use. That's kind of a follow-up change just to make sure everything stays clean as the engine settles in. After that, you can move to the normal schedule, which is about every 100 hours of use, or at least once every season if you don't run it that often. So, before we get started with the oil change, the first thing you want to do is make sure the generator has cooled down if you've been running it. Now, there are a few things we're going to need. First, something to catch the old oil underneath. I'm just using this aluminum pan for the demo. Second, a 12mm socket, which is what we'll use to remove the drain bolt. And of course, the new oil. The first step is removing this drain bolt right here. You don't need to force it too much, just a little turn until it breaks free. Once it's loose, you can go ahead and finish unscrewing it with your hand. As soon as you pull the bolt all the way out, you'll see the oil start flowing right away. I like to open the fill cap on top, the same one we'll use later to pour in the new oil. Opening that up lets air flow through and helps the old oil drain out quicker and a lot smoother. Now just let it sit until it's completely drained. Once you don't see any more oil coming out, put the bolt back in and snug it up with your socket. Here's the oil I collected. It doesn't look too bad, but even if it's not super dark, it still has those tiny metal shavings from the break-in period. And that's exactly what we're getting rid of. And now we're ready to pour in the new oil. Choosing the right type is pretty simple. 10W30 will work just fine for most people. If you live somewhere with freezing winters, you'll want to go with a different grade. I'll put a chart up on screen so you can see which oil is best for your climate. After the break-in period, you can switch over to synthetic oil if you want. The only time you don't want to use synthetic is during that very first break-in. That's because the engine needs those first few hours on regular oil to let the parts wear in properly and sit the way they should. In my case, I am using a synthetic blend, and it works perfectly for this generator. And if you're wondering about capacity, this generator takes about 40.5 fluid ounces, which is just over 1.25 quarts. That's why I've got 2 bottles here. Each one is a quart, so I'll pour in 1 full bottle and then about a quarter from the second one. That's all you need to get it filled up to the right level. Now, putting the oil back in is really simple. All you have to do is remove the orange cap, grab the funnel that comes in the package and set it in place. Then start pouring the oil. In this case, I'm adding 1 full quart from the first bottle and then about a quarter from the second one, which gives us the exact amount this generator needs. Once the oil is in, pull out the funnel and wipe things down. To make sure you've got the right level, you can use the dipstick on the cap. Now that we've finished the oil change, the next thing we're gonna check is the air filter. On this generator, it's right here on the right side when you're looking at it from the front. Most generators have it in pretty much the same spot. Just loosen this screw, pull the cover off, and there's your filter. All you really need to do is give it a quick check. If it's dirty, just wash it out with a little soap and water. Let it dry all the way and put it back in. If it looks worn or damaged, then it's better to replace it. In my case, this one's still really clean, so I don't need to do anything. But it's always worth checking, because a clogged filter can make your generator run rough and use more fuel. And the last thing we're gonna check today is the spark plug. You'll find it right here in the back of the generator. To get to it, the first thing you need to do is remove the spark plug boot. That's the connector that's clipped onto the top of the plug. Just give it a little pull and it'll come right off. Once that's out of the way, grab the spark plug wrench that comes with the generator. It's made specifically for this, so it'll fit perfectly. Slide the wrench over the plug, turn it to the left, and once you feel it loosen up, you can finish unscrewing it by hand. Once you've got the spark plug out, give it a quick inspection. If it looks good or just a bit dirty, you can clean it with a wire brush and put it back. But if it's cracked or worn, go ahead and replace it. Another thing you'll want to do is check the gap on the spark plug. For that, you'll need a spark plug gap tool. It looks something like this. On this generator, the gap should be set between 0.7 and 0.8 millimeters, or about 0.028 to 0.031 inches. Getting that gap right is important because it makes sure the spark fires the way it should, and that's what helps the engine run smoothly every time you start it up. And that's basically everything you need to do to stay on top of the maintenance for this generator. It's a good idea to do it regularly so your machine is always ready to go. One thing I really recommend if you're not gonna use the generator for a while, or if you're storing it long term, is to close the fuel valve and let it run until it shuts off on its own. That burns off any gas left in the carburetor so it doesn't sit in there and gum things up. Another good idea is to add a little fuel stabilizer to the gas tank. Gasoline goes bad over time, and stabilizer keeps it fresh, so when you come back to it, the generator will fire right up without a problem. And if you have the choice between propane and gasoline, I definitely recommend using propane. The reason is simple. Propane burns a lot cleaner so it doesn't gum up the carburetor or leave behind deposits in the engine the way gasoline does. It also stores way better than gas, so you don't have to worry about it going bad after just a couple of months. On top of that, propane helps keep your oil cleaner for longer, which means less wear on the engine over time. Now, gasoline is still great if you need maximum power or if propane just isn't available. But for most situations, propane is the easier option and it'll save you headaches with maintenance in the long run. And lastly, it's a really good idea to run your generator every once in a while, even if you don't need it. Just letting it run for 10 or 15 minutes keeps the battery charged, keeps the oil moving through the engine, and makes sure everything stays in working order. Speaking of the battery, if it ever does go bad, you can replace it yourself. It's located down here at the bottom on the right side. The XP13000EH uses a standard 12-volt sealed lead acid battery, so it's nothing special. You can find a replacement at most auto parts stores or even online. So that's pretty much it for today. I hope this helped you out with the maintenance on your generator. I'll leave links in the description to everything I used in this video, including the generator itself. If you decide to buy through my link, I might earn a small commission, which helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to help. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you found it useful. And I'll see you in the next one.